Hey everyone, I'm Nama. I'm the Sacred Cuddler, and I'm here to talk to you a little bit, just a little, about sacred cuddling in depth. So, for a little background, me personally, I have had many jobs over the years, done all kinds of things, worked in an office, worked outside. I've worked with special needs kids and adults. I've been a barista. I've done all kinds of jobs, just like I'm sure all of you have too. When it came time to cuddling, it was not something I had planned on. And I received what I like to call the little voice. On the night of the blood moon about a month ago, I woke up at 4 in the morning out of a dead sleep, and I saw the full moon out my window. And I heard the little voice, and the voice said, "You need to become a professional cuddler." And I thought, that's insane. Who does that? I'd heard of it once, maybe a year ago. And I went, all right, fine, whatever. I went back to sleep. The next morning, the thought would not stop. It was plaguing me to the point where I just couldn't concentrate on anything. So I started researching and researching and researching. And it turns out it's a thing. It's a real thing. And not only that, the need for it is actually really big. As for me, about a year and a half ago, something really big happened in my life, and I had a lot of changes that happened. The biggest one of which was that I decided to be brave. I started attending all kinds of events like pujas, which are very interesting and different from cuddling. A lot of women's events, something amazing called the Red Tent, which is a sacred event for women every month. All of these different events, they got me thinking. They got me wondering, what am I missing? And the thing that I liked the most out of all of these events was that people would hold me. They would welcome me with a hug. And so that, combined with the little voice saying, you have to be a professional cuddler, was enough for me to realize that this is something I should try. So, back to my point. I had a session. It was actually one of my first sessions with a client. He is definitely older, in his 60s. And when we met and we had our first session, we talked it all out. We talked face to face, just like I'm talking to you. Hi, how are you? How was your day? What are you looking for in a session? We discussed different positions that worked for him because, he's older. He has some joint issues. So there were certain positions he wanted to cuddle in that were more comfortable for him physically. And we changed positions a lot because he's kind of an antsy guy. But the thing I found interesting was that it wasn't what I thought it would be. I really didn't know what to expect, but any expectations I had went right out the window because within about 10 minutes or so, I noticed something. He started to breathe. He started to smell the smell of me. He took long, deep breaths, and there was an exchange of energy. It was powerful. And slowly, I started to notice little things like he was holding back. So I engaged him in conversation. I noticed that his arms definitely looked like he'd seen some sun. We started talking, and it turned out he'd served in Vietnam. And he spent an hour telling me about Vietnam. More than an hour, almost 2. And all the experiences that happened to him there, many of them dark. And after we were finished, he told me this was the best part of my day. And I was absolutely floored. We've had sessions since, and he's been able to relax, to talk to me about all kinds of personal things that maybe he hasn't shared in years, maybe ever. It was at that moment that he left, and I thanked him and I gave him a big hug. I realized this is why I have to do this. Because men in our society deserve a safe space to feel. And that's not to say, oh, you need to cry it out. You need to You need to be all emotional. Let's put aside the stupid social norms, shall we? All I'm saying is, men are raised to be tough, to be the rock all the time. It gets old. And nobody can be strong constantly. Eventually, you're going to break. And this sacred cuddling, it is sacred. It's a quiet, special, intimate time where you can be seen for exactly who and what you are and accepted with love and peace, and to be honored, to relax and rest. And by the end of most of my sessions, the both of us are almost falling asleep. And there's a reason behind it. You get sleepy because you feel safe. It's an instinct. Do you ever notice that when you cuddle with someone? A spouse, a parent, a child, you feel so good and so peaceful that you want to fall asleep. Well, that's because when you're a baby and you're being held, you're safe. And that's how you fall asleep. It's that level of safety and that level of peace that I can bring to people, especially our amazing wounded warriors, our veterans that maybe haven't been touched with kindness in years, maybe ever. It's something that I value immensely. I get more out of it sometimes than my clients do. So if you want to know what it feels like this. That's all for now, folks. Have a great night. Enjoy your cuddling. Bye.